Welcome to part 6 of the chatting course, fan management. Perfect. So basically, fan management is one of the most important, not most, but one of the more important parts of managing a bigger team, managing a lot of fans. And if you're running anything on scale, even a small scale, you're running multiple models, you have a chatting team, you do need a good fan management so everything is sorted, everything is taken care of, and all the chatters know what to do. You can set up, without this, you cannot really set up any systems, you cannot really set up any strategies. Classifying fans is one of the more important things when it comes to OnlyFans chatting. But, anyways, this also helps the chatter know about who the fan is, how to deal with the fan, and maybe you use some strategies that you teach them. I use it a lot, and this is something I teach all my chatters, and this is something that I pay a lot of attention to all the chatters doing. Also, one thing you can use this fan management systems I'm going to teach you for is to know the status of the fan, paydays, when is the next scheduled sexting session and whatnot, his birthday, etc. All these things you can use to make more money. All these things you can use to build more connection and get him more emotionally invested as well. If you use these correctly, you will convert a lot of normal spending fans into whales. A lot of people getting into the love with the model and whatnot. So the way you do this is basically there are some things that I've listed how I use it. First is very common, fan lists. So I have a lot of lists. The most common one that everybody knows is, and most of the CRMs do this automated, is the spending list. New fans, fans that have spent low amount of money, medium fans, high spenders, whales. So these are the fan lists based on spending, but then you have also fans list on people who buy PPVs. Some people only wants to buy some nudes and some porn, and that is basically free money, and we cannot say no to that. So people who don't want GFE and they just want nudes and porn, you basically put them in a separate list. You can actually get very creative with this. For example, if you have, like, when I run Reddit, sometimes I'm also marketing my girls one account as Australian account, the other one Canadian, the other one USA. So there's a lot of fans. Some are from Europe, some are from Australia, some are from Canada, some are from UK, some are from America, and you can basically put them in different lists as well, right? So list basically helps you to this is very basic. If you have any kind of experience, you already know this, but list basically helps you select all the fans at once and kind of know what kind of fan it is. One thing that goes very closely with the list is my emoji system. So basically I have a big list of emojis that we put next to the names. Let's say if a fan is a student, we put him in the student list and we put student emoji right next to his name. So when the fan is when the chatter is chatting, he doesn't have to look through the list to know who the fan is, or the chats, or the notes, or the summary. All he do is, okay, here's the emoji, student emoji, boyfriend emoji. That means he's a student and he's in love and he's a whale emoji. So you can put multiple emojis and they can tell you a lot about who the fan is. So these goes hand in hand. You can also use emojis as something that I use emojis for is also knowing one when the pay date is. So if we are waiting for the pay date, we would put a certain emoji in the names. If we are waiting for the next sexting session, we would put a certain emoji in the name. If the guy is a non-spender or a time waster, we would put a certain emoji in the name. If the guy only likes PPV and porn and just wants to buy and really doesn't care about any GFE or knows the game and he's not playing around, he just wants what he wants, he knows what he wants, there's a certain emoji for that as well. You can also use lists and emojis for people who are into certain kind of stuff. Let's say this fan really loves the eyes of the model, and there's a lot of fans that love the eyes. So you can put an eye emoji. For boobs, you can use a separate emoji. For ass, you can use a separate emoji. For midriffs, you can use separate emoji. For certain kinks, you can use separate emoji. If he's a dom, you can use a separate emoji. So all these emojis, so you helps a lot. So you don't have to make lists for every single thing. But lists are also important, especially if you're using PPVs right here. Lists are very important because one thing I'm going to tell you about PPVs, you don't want to send PPVs to the fans that are regularly talking to the girl, that feels a natural connection, thinks of them as their boyfriend, or are whales, or are new, or have are potential whales. You only want to send PPVs to the guys that are time wasters, that just want porn and just want PPVs, you know, stuff like that. So once you start making your own emoji lists, PPVs, emoji list and fans list, you can use the PPV system. You can be very creative with it, and you can use it in many different ways. One more thing I want to tell you is names. So how do we use names? Let's say there is a guy with username John Wick 24, right? Of course, first it's not his real name, and using the name in a certain way, you can maximize the kind of info you can get just by scanning through the name. So this is how I like to do it. His name is James, let's say. So John Wick 24. We edit his nick. We put a nickname there. So basically, in OnlyFans, you have an option to edit. You should know that. You can put his name as James, bracket whatever nickname you give him. So let's say you start calling him John Wick, or you call him Batman, or whatever. Bracket nickname, um, a dash, his age, dash where he's from, and emojis in the start. This is how we use names, and this really helps a lot about basically summarizing the fan in one line, especially because you have very limited character space in the names. But on the extension, you can always use notes. Is one of the best tools in OnlyFans, but I don't see people using that all that much. One more thing is CRMs. CRMs has automated lists. That means currently chatting list, and the spending list, which I always like to use because they all automatically put and change lists, and everything is always updated. And there are, depending on what CRM you're using, there are a lot of automations, different systems that you can use to manage your fans better. And yeah, once you have all this in place, how it will help you is your chatters will know how to do with a certain fan. You can make strategies, you can make sequences, and let's say you make a ass sequence for all the guys that like ass. Now all you do is you pull up the ass list, you send everyone a PPV, you put a caption in a way that it feels personalized, and boom, you have money coming in. You can do the same with everything. Also, it can also help you kind of figure out a stats on a lot of different things. Like, students, okay, that means put the price low. He's not going to be paying that much because he's a student. He probably is broke, but we can take the little money that he has instead of aiming for the big one. So sometimes charging less can be a good game of plan if you know more about the fan. The more you know about the fan, the more tools you have in your back pocket, and the way you transfer the knowledge from one chatter to another. Because at a time, I have 4 to 5 chatters working on one set of accounts, or one account, depending on how big it is. And the way to transfer their knowledge into one another is using these systems exactly, plus the fan notes, plus we have a shift handover system as well, where they kind of summarize some of the important things the next chatter should have. So these are really important things that you can implement. One thing I can do is, if you join my free Telegram here, which is for networking, I'm not selling you anything there. For networking, talking, asking questions and whatnot, if you join there, I will post the free resources, my emoji systems and the list systems that I use, and the name system that I use, as a PDF there for free for everyone. So if you join that, you can go grab that. One thing I want to also mention is I also have a chatting agency of myself. So if you're pulling decent traffic, you should go take a look at InfiniteChatting.com, watch the video, and if you qualify and if you think that that is something that we can work on, you should just message me on Telegram. Yes, also for the chatting agency, we are also taking over trans and male models because there's a lot of money to be made. I also have a Reddit service agency. You can join my Telegram and you can ask me any questions about it. I'm not going to waste your time on the video.